Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the full moon in Cancer taking place on January 6, 2023 at 6:07 p.m. if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Please check a time zone converter for your local time. This video is the twin flame update for the full moon in Cancer for all divine counterparts, twin souls, twin flames, etc. Happy New Year, guys. I'm super pumped to be able to find ourselves together once again on this side of a holiday season. If you've been wanting to read with me, please know my calendar is in fact open. It would be an honor to read for you and look at your year ahead as we move into the peak of the union window when it comes to divine counterpartships at this time. I am only reading for individuals unless you and your counterpart are coming together as a couple. Then I will be reading your counterpart's chart at this time in a couples reading. Couples readings are 90 minutes, and they are, in fact, for two people, not just for one. So if you and your counterpart listen to these lunar updates and the two of you would like to book time for me to look at both of your charts and your year ahead, you can certainly do that via the couples reading on the twin flame reading page on my website over at kmoonastro.com. But otherwise, there's so much to do as individuals, since this union window energy is taking place in the sign of the individual. So I'm leaving the remainder of the calendar available for people who would like to book individual personal readings. Okay. And so finally, here we are. We've made it to the peak of the union window energy. And we can see our divine counterparts sitting together here at this full moon in Cancer. There they are, Jupiter at the 1st degree of Aries, Juno at the 27th degree of Pisces. They are 4 degrees apart, 3.5 degrees apart. And when they sit that close together, boy, do they make waves. They make a huge, huge impact. This full moon in Cancer is bringing forward an energy of emotional awareness and truth for us about where we stand in our connections and with our cash flow that I go in rich detail about at the Lightworker Energy Update, which is the other video published simultaneously alongside this one. It just says full moon in Cancer. If you'd like to more deeply understand the full context in which these two counterparts are coming together so that you can understand why the energy has the connotations and the influence it does and what it all means, I strongly recommend you have a listen to that video, then come back to this one. Because in this video, I'm going to be focused more directly on what the divine counterparts are doing, which is a microcosm of the macrocosm big picture at the full moon in Cancer. So just know that the theme is getting into emotional congruence and aligning our lives accordingly when it comes to our connections and our cash flow for this full moon in Cancer, surrendering to emotional truths that life has been presenting to us as our reality, and giving ourselves the opportunity to lean into any stories we've told ourselves that may not be true about why things are the way they are in love or money for us, so that we can get into a place of greater balance by releasing stories that are just holding us back, that are telling stories of our limitation instead of our light and our strength. Okay, those stories will come up at this lunation for us to release. Again, great detail and care is taken in relaying why that is and what that is in the Lightworker Energy Update. I strongly recommend you have a listen. Now, The way I call this a union window. So, for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Those of you who have been here will remember me speaking about this at length in 2021 and some in 2022. Here we have Jupiter, the divine masculine energy, also known as Zeus, god of Mount Olympus, sitting together with his wife Juno. And she, most astrologers will consider her a minor asteroid, but I am all about the reclamation of the feminine energy here. And I don't consider her a minor asteroid. I consider her a major planetary player. Yeah, let's include women. So here's when these two only come together once every 5 to 6 to 8-ish years, on average 7. When they come together, the vibration, the frequency for those who carry the frequency of divine counterpartship, you will have felt the energy 1 year prior and 1 year after they're coming together. Okay. They're coming together in the sky in what astrologers call a conjunction, meaning they sit together in the same location. They're coming together in the sky comes with a lot of tumult with it. If you know the mythology around these two, you understand that these two, they struggled. They stayed together, but they struggled in their commitment. And in the ways in which they have done so, they both bring very different energies to connection. Divine Feminine brings an energy of commitment. Juno does represent commitment in our charts. It represents the energy of receptivity as well, connection and glue. Jupiter represents the energy of divine protectorship, provision, divine guidance, and light. Brings forward the energy of also fertility between the two of them. They both represent fertility in different ways. And so in my Star School 201 class, I deep dive into the mythology around the two of them and what they represent and what they bring forward. But suffice it to say, when they come together, those of us who carry the frequency for divine counterpartship here on earth, not everyone's here on that journey. Some of us are on other types of light worker journeys. But if you carry the frequency, you would have felt the building of this energy as of last year, January of last year. January of this year, this energy peaks because now they are sitting together. They'll be the most together that they're going to get as we get to January 21st. And then they slowly begin to separate from January 21st onward into the remainder of the year. And so let me just draw a quick picture for you guys so I can give you a sense of how the vibration works. Let's just give this like a timeline. I'm going to hit you guys with my Picasso now. Okay. So this is peak intensity up here. Intensity being at a 10, meaning you and your person are dreaming about one another. If you're in separation, if you're together, you and your person may be really planning and looking very deeply at, okay, what do we want to do in terms of impact or influence, or what's transforming, growing, and changing in our lives? Where is our light and leadership needed next? Deep intensity, that's level 10. Level 1 is like, you're not even on my mind. I barely feel you or think about you. So at the beginning of January of 2022, okay, this is when we would have started the union window journey. Again, thank you for really loving my Picasso here. So we would have started the journey here. The journey will end over here in January of 2024. We will have come out of the union window at this point in time, and we'll be back in kind of more regular energies. Yes, okay, for the sideways. Okay. And here we are right now at January 2023. Now, I know you can type on this. I'm just not doing that right now. I don't know why. Okay, so peak energy, like lots of dreams appear, lots of interaction, both psychically and physically in the third dimension. This level 10 is where the universe is creating a lot of pressure inside of divine counterpartship connections. A lot of pull, a lot of pressure. Many twins who have not settled into a coupleship or companionship, if you're in some format of separation, because there's so much pressure from the universe at this period of time, you may find that it's easier to stay separate when you're at level 10 type of energy push from the outside, because it stops you from being able to hear your own organic energy around where you stand with your counterpart and what you need for things to land in the third dimension. So many of you who are in separation may have found, as we moved into the latter part of last year, the beginning of this year, as we are now in peak union window energies, you will have found that it would have been easier to deal with the external pressure by relieving the internal pressure and just being to yourselves while you balance all of the energy that is going, look at this person, look at the connection, deal with it, deal with the feelings, deal with everything. It would have felt easier rather than being pushed around by the energy to just say, you know what, I'm going to take a breather. I'm going to feel my way through this. I'm going to deal with this when there's less pressure around it. So some of you may have found that this period of time, as we closed 2022 and as we get into the beginning of 2023, if you've been in separation, separation may deepen at this period of time because it's just too much external pressure on the connection. Okay. Furthermore, this union window is taking place in the sign of Aries. Aries is the sign of the individual. So this is about coming into union with yourself more than anything. It's about coming into connection with you, understanding how you've been made, how God created you, what's in your heart to explore here on earth, as a divine creature incarnate, right? As you are coming into union with yourself, things may also have gotten quite quiet in your connection as well, and pressure to really deepen your understanding of who you really are would have been placed upon your heart and in your spirit at this time. So this peak window of time, I'm going to say maybe this is like August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. We're going to call this the peak window of time just before 2023 and into 2023. This is where the experience of the connection itself is going to be providing some of the most illuminated lessons via what you've experienced in the connection itself, so that you can dig into your union with who you really are. So it's important to understand that some of what you may be experiencing is exactly what needed to happen for you to come into union with yourself, since they are coming together in the sign of the self, Aries. All right. Intensity continues for the remainder of 2023, all the way until we get to January of 2024. And then we step out of this union window energy, that this kind of energy, we don't see it again until about 2028, 2029. Okay. There now, this goes without saying, but I'm just going to say it because I know there's going to be somebody who's like, oh my God, I didn't meet my twin during a union window. What if we're not twins? No. Okay. Astrology does not run your show. You and your counterpart have met, come together, and come apart at exactly the times you and your person need to, based on what you're both here to learn and what your leadership here on Earth is. The energetic flows of the planetary energy simply provide ebb and flow, push and pull that has nothing to do with what's going on in your personal connection. You want to pay attention to your personal cycles and your personal seasons with your person. And those of you who are enrolled in Star School will find that 201 helps you delineate your seasons privately, your personal seasons. This is just collective energy, collective flows to help elevate us and move us into a union with self energy at this period of time. Okay. So I wanted to illustrate that for you so that you had a sense of where we were at, what type of vibration and frequency we were dealing with, why things may be unfolding the way they are. For my twins in union, I know many of you have been working deeply to really get into truth with yourself at this period of time, bringing more authentic versions of yourself into your connections and out into the world, finding very authentic expressions of your soul calling, your work, trying to find ways to serve the world through your light work in ways that are more deeply authentic and genuine to what your soul has shown you in this lifetime. If you have been working together, this may be a season in which you start to work separately. If you have been working separately, this may be a season in which one or both of you moves into greater success with the work that you have been bringing into the world. It's definitely a period of time where our individual soul callings and soul urges are going to start to reveal themselves to us. And what's happening in the connection itself is unfolding in the way that it needs to in order to nudge us in the correct direction around that. Okay. All right. So the last time they came together in this format was May 19th of 2015. So that energy would have been felt as early as May of 2014 and as late as May of 2016. They came together in the sign of Leo. Leo being the energy of sovereignty, stepping into our creativity and our authority in our lives over ourselves and the direction of our lives. And in many ways, becoming the star of our own show, manifesting our lives as reflections of our spirit. This starts a new cycle, thematically speaking. This is about individualization and authenticity. This is about a return to our truest nature and a reclamation of our soul's ambitions. Why the heck did I come to Earth at this period of time? That question is going to be getting answered in this new 7-year cycle, okay? Or 6-year cycle, as the case may be. There's going to be a reclamation of our true passions and our true drives and motivations. This is truly, as they come together in the sign of Aries, a homecoming to self, okay? And a return to our divine innocence. As the first sign of the zodiac, Aries covers a lot of naivety and innocence. We're going to reclaim a lot of our divine innocence and our divine naivete. When seen from this perspective, all of the shedding, all of the transformation, all of the difficult truths, all of the purging, all of the hard choices of the last 4 months makes a lot of sense. It was a huge closing out of a cycle, ending of a 7-year period of time where the work was about sovereignty. And now we're coming into our individuality. Okay. We're getting rebirthed with several moments of rebirthing to come. And so, excuse me. I spoke a little bit about this in the Lightworker Energy Update, but I just want to cover some key dates for you guys here. It's really the first 4 months of this year that are going to be the most impactful. So you guys want to write some of these down March 4th through 21st, we have a superstellium in the sign of Aries. Last time we saw a superstellium would have been in 2021 in the sign of Aquarius. Here we go, March 4th. So I'll just bring it up in transit for you guys to see. There we go. Lots of activity in the sign of Aries. There's Vesta, there's Jupiter, Chiron, Venus, Eris, and Juno. And the sun will shortly thereafter join, and then so too will Mercury will also join and pass through Aries. But it'll be after Juno and Venus have left the scene. This is very much new beginning energy in love. This is falling in love with ourselves energy. All of the relationship planets are like all sitting together there in the sign of Aries. For all my Aries and all my Libra people out there, shout out to you. If you've been looking for love, 2023 may be your year. Because with Jupiter, Venus, and Juno all passing through Aries, this brings and infuses the Aries sun sign with lots of, okay, this is your moment. If you've been trying to get hitched, this is it. Like, be sure you're putting yourself out there, certainly if you are also a Libra as well. Okay. As we get into this energy for Aries last, and for all of us, it's a new beginning in love energy for all of us, but especially for Aries and Libra. It lasts through the spring equinox, through the 21st and the 23rd, which is like peak days of our union window energy. So I'll take you over there. Okay. Well, that was January. Now we're in March. But now you can see Juno and Venus have moved on into Uranus. But the sun and the moon here at the equinox are hanging out together in Aries. Again, echoing lots of new beginning. Aries being that first sign of the zodiac, new moon hitting on the 21st or around thereabouts. March is going to be a very significant period of newness and feeling like you're different, life is different, everything is different come March, especially in connection. We've also March 8th, we've got Saturn having moved into Pisces, so leaving his 2.5-year stint in Aquarius and really grounding a lot of the 5D experiences that we've been experiencing into the third dimension. That's March 8th. Saturn will have moved here into Pisces by that date, bringing a lot more spiritual boundaries as well. And let's see, completing that 2.5 years and beginning a new 2.5-year cycle. April 8th, we've got Pluto moving into Aquarius. So it's eventful. It's an eventful beginning of the year. So there's Pluto moving into Aquarius. I went into detail about what this might mean and what we would see in the Lightworker energy update collectively. So I won't repeat that here, but it is certainly going to make an impact, a huge impact for all of us. As Pluto gets into Aquarius and begins the process of restoring power to where we want to grow next. Okay. All right. So we'll talk more about each of these with each lunation as we go. But my point in sharing all of this with you in advance is that the first 4 months of this year, there's going to be a significant amount of newness. The newness is going to take time to calibrate and adjust to. So, because you are being made new, your connection is being made new as well. And if it's quiet right now, for those of you who are in separation, it's okay. They're going through a lot of new energy, and so are you. Allow quietness to be what it needs to be. For those of you who are stepping in, who are already in some format of union, if it's feeling like you guys just can't get on the same page in the first 4 months of this year, or like life is just pulling you in different directions, trust that things will settle down as we move into the later parts of the year, but trust that all unfoldments at this time are unfoldments for the best, bringing you each into deeper understanding of your union with yourself, your spirit and soul calling, what you're here on earth to do at this time. Try not to put too much pressure on other people to be who they used to be. They're not. They're not going to be the people you've known them to be up until now. People are being made new. You are being made new. And thus, the way you interact with one another will also be different. Give yourself grace and space to integrate and adjust. Now, for some of you, I want to say this year, all this new energy, all this stuff, this is where you and I's journey is going to end. In the closing energy of 2022 and that crucible energy, it may have become very clear that the connection that you've been dealing with was either not your twin or not a divine counterpart of any sort. It was the journey of it activated you in love in a way that provided resonance. Me being in your life in the ways that I have up until now facilitated illumination and growth, but you've outgrown what it is I offer here. You're in a place now where the work just does not resonate, doesn't hit, it doesn't land in the same way. You're moving into a new cycle, a new journey in love as you close out and complete what you have been through thus far. That's okay. It is okay. Know that there was purpose to it. You've gotten a lot of the purpose from it, would have come to consciousness through the Mercury and the Mars retrograde that we're still in the midst of now. You can see Mercury is retrograde here, bringing consciousness to form in the third dimensional sign of Capricorn and bringing motivation to our curiosity, seeing what else is out there with Mars there in the sign of the curious one, Gemini. If you're realizing you and I's journey ends here, just know that I wish you all the best. You may still find the Lightworker energy updates to be quite constructive for you. If you want to stop listening to these, take a break from this kind of content, I fully honor and support that. Just know that I'm here should you decide to look at astrology from a Lightworker perspective and not necessarily from a twin flame perspective. That is okay. Okay. Also, feel free to unsubscribe if that is what you are called to do. Okay. The lessons that you needed to get, you would have integrated those in the last 4 months. The changes that you were supposed to make would have been made. Momentum is really downhill from here as we integrate the new energy. Now, the hardest part of the changes, thankfully, are behind us. Now, I've spoken to a few of you this week who are overdue on some change, and you know who you are, you know what you need to do. Divorce was supposed to have been gotten filed. Business was supposed to have been gotten started. Job was supposed to have been gotten quit. If you're overdue, please, I implore you, take the time now to do what you need to do, because the last thing you want to do is start this new cycle with old energy, okay? Start the new cycle and new energy so that you're not repeating what's gone on for the last 7 years or 3 years in the next 7-year cycle, okay? Or 2.5-year cycle, as the case may be with Saturn in particular. Hopefully you've done what needed to be done. So that right now feels a lot more like a homecoming. If you've been doing the work, you're going to feel like, okay, there's just a lot of possibility, a lot of potential in the air, a lot of opening right now. With both divine masculine and divine feminine energy occupying the same degrees in a conjunction at this lunar update, there's only one energy imbuing both fields. And so for this lunation and for the next, and probably for one or two after that, there will not be differentiated divine masculine and divine feminine segments of our lunar updates. They will be one because they are incarnating and embodying one energy at this time. So they are sextiling Pluto together, which is bringing access to personal power and regeneration and renewal. And because Pluto is inside Capricorn, both energies are having the conversation of what structures need to change, what structures need to shift and transform at this time. They are opposing Ceres together and the Shaman's asteroid. Well, not so much Shaman's asteroid, that'll probably be next lunation, but they are opposing Ceres at this time. Ceres governs seasonality. And in opposition, she is bringing forward a season of closing and completion as well, especially since Pluto is in the mix. In addition to Ceres, highlights Ceres closing kind of energy. You may have noticed that you and your counterpart, for those of you who are in union over the holiday, over the last several months of the year, you may have noticed there's just certain things in the connection that both of you have outgrown ways of talking to one another. Your children may be leaving home or going from elementary to high school. You may have found that there's a way that the two of you worked together. You're now going to stop working together and do different things or work on new things together. There's a completion of a cycle. Ceres represents seasonal energy in many ways, okay? We've also got a trine here from both of them to Lilith, with Lilith in conversation with both of the divine counterparts. She's bringing forward an energy of harmony with your emotional truths. There will be some things that each of you can no longer hold back in the reality of what you've emotionally been experiencing. Again, for my people for whom are in union at this time, you'll notice there's some real honest conversations that this Mercury retrograde is bringing to the table for you guys, where you're able to rehash and get to the bottom of things that you previously have been unable to have deep, honest conversation about. There's a knowingness of self in this energy that previously may have been inaccessible. Some of you are realizing, wow, I don't even feel the way I used to. If you're in separation from your counterpart and you've been through a long journey with them, you're starting to recognize, I don't even feel the way I used to feel about them. And I never thought that would be true. Thank you, Uranus North Node conjunction, for that. You might be moving on a different path with someone new for a short period of time. If you and your counterpart have not been able to get on the same page in the old cycle, this new cycle may have you getting on the same page with someone new. Allow love to reveal itself to you in the way in which it is ready to reveal itself to you. Love is indeed trying to land for many people, but in order for that to happen, some of the heart attachment to what we thought it would look like will need to get released so that new bonds can be formed in this new energy. We've also got a square here to Pholus. I spoke at length about Pholus at the last lunar update, but Pholus's energy is the energy of sacrifice and letting go of old structures there inside of Capricorn. In other words, the way it was, the way it used to be, as we are stepping into the new. There's all kinds of about to resurrect energy in both fields, divine feminine and masculine. There will not be, as I mentioned, a third dimensional union in this union window in every case, traditional union, like, oh, now we are boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, moving in together, having kids, having dogs, whatever. That's not going to be the case for everyone. Whatever is unfolding in the manner it needs to in your connection to help you personally come into greater union with yourself. Now, for some of you, that will by design mean yes, and a third dimensional traditional kind of union with a counterpart. But for others of you, it may mean separation. It may mean a different person. It may mean a different kind of job. It may mean a different configuration of the connection itself. It may mean a divorce from a spouse and a break from a counterpart while you start to hear yourself, maybe for the first time in decades, right? It's going to play out in the way in which your spirit needs it to for you to evolve into greater union with self. Okay. The energy, as I showed in that my Picasso diagram, will be in effect for the remainder of the year, with the greatest intensity being now, the last 4 months of last year and the first 4 months of this year. And this is exciting. I'm loving this. This is all of us becoming more of our truest selves at this period of time. And for those whose counterparts are an active part of your life, you will be able to witness these changes in them as well. You'll be able to see them shift and grow and transform. Again, because this is a full moon in Cancer, Cancer being about emotional truth, reality, and integrity, watching someone you love transform can, in fact, be confronting if you have been attached to who they used to be. Whatever you require in terms of releasing them to be the one that they need to be at this time, grieve it, journal about it, talk about it with your therapist, do what you need to do. But know that there's nothing that they are doing that they are attempting to do to you as they are becoming more themselves. Whatever that self is at this point in time, try to trust the process and trust that they have a God spark within them. For those of you who are struggling with witnessing your person change and transform, trust that they have a God spark within them that is guiding this, and that they're not doing anything wrong, and neither are you. They're just changing. And change in this case is actually a really, really good thing. Trust that it will serve the higher purpose of the connection in the long run, even if you can't see it right now. And know that if you need to talk about it, you need some optics into where things might be headed and what this means for you personally, you can always take some time in my calendar over at kmoonastro.com to have a look at how this union window with self is going to impact you during the remainder of this year. It's my honor and pleasure to serve. Thanks so much for being here and for all of your likes, subscribes, and shares. Yeah, I would love to know in the comment section the ways in which you are coming into union with you at this period of time. If you'd like to share any of that in the comments, that would be amazing and probably very inspiring for other listeners as well. Take great care, and bye for now.